Welcome back to DUK Dogs. Whitney's laughing at me. We have a brand new setup here, as you could probably see from the intro. Brand new setup. I'm feeling very professional.
Totally, we look official.
We look very official. If you could see us right now, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, they look like professionals." So welcome back to another episode of DUK Dogs. I'm Josh Miller. I'm here with Whitney Miller, and we are going to talk puppies. We're going to talk about a recent litter that Whitney just had, some of the things that went into that night. We'll get into that a little bit in detail, but before I do, I want to make sure we go over and thank our sponsors. So thank you to Eukanuba. Eukanuba is the presenting sponsor of this show. Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020 is the blend of food that we feed here at the kennel, and we feed to our personal dogs as well. And it is a fantastic food. I would highly recommend it for anyone looking for a high quality premium food to put your four-legged hunting partner on. Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020. Also, thank you to Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck is the 5-star crash test rated kennel, both in the intermediate and in the large, and they have a bunch of different accessories between kennel covers and fans. We'll be using the fans a bunch here this summer, so make sure you take a look at that stuff as we head into this spring and summer training season. So I'll hit the other ones later on because we have a lot to talk about here today. So first off, I just can't get over how professional we look here. It's there's so many buttons and there's so many different colors that I just want to be pushing these buttons, and every joke that I now say, I can do something
oh
I'm gonna feel way funnier. I'm gonna feel way more engaged. No, but one of the things that we wanted to do with getting this kind of a setup is just be able to be more consistent. I know something that I've struggled with is really carving out the time to sit down and do these shows and do these episodes, and it's something that I'm going to put a bigger priority on going forward because we get so much feedback off of it. So thank you guys for following along. Thank you guys for all the comments and all the engagement that you give throughout the year. It kind of led me to and urged me to make this kind of a purchase. So here we are. So Whit, you had a long night last night.
Oh my gosh, it was so long. It was never ending, honestly.
Yeah, literally
never ending.
Because you haven't slept for
36 hours or something around that.
It's actually 41 because I counted.
Oh.
41 hours. So Whitney probably doesn't even know what day it is right now, let alone, so if all of a sudden she just goes quiet and is no longer with us, you can probably guess that she is sleeping face first on the table. But, so take us through just last night's activities, because we didn't plan that this was going to happen. We didn't think that, we knew that we were in the ballpark of it, but
yeah, we knew it was our first due date.
Right. So kind of take us through that.
Okay. Well, let's keep in mind I also have 3 other litters on the ground that I'm currently taking care of. I have Rainy's litter, Nellie's litter, and Daphne's litter. They're all so stinking cute. So, I'm going about my day doing that. And then night rolls around and I have those 3 litters up at the kennel puppy nursery just because they're old enough to be up there now. But I have Daisy and Lindy down at the whelping puppy nursery down at our house, and just to keep a really close eye on them, especially because they're at their due date. And all is well, we're eating dinner as a family. Ava and I were working out and getting the kids to bed, and I heard Daisy really start to nest. Now, nesting is a very common, natural thing for these females to do. What they're doing is they're just kind of preparing a nest, for their puppies to be in once they're delivered. And I was like, gosh, she's really going to town on this. And she had been nesting a little off and on throughout the day, but nothing that I was like, oh, wow. And I went down there, and she was doing a very light pant, which is very common for when they are going to start whelping. It could be in an hour. It could be in 12 hours. So you just never know. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just keep an eye on her. So I go back upstairs. I turn my Nest camera on, and sure enough, she is having a contraction, and it is 11 o'clock at night. I'm like,
we're literally crawling into bed.
I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. Like, this is going to be an all-nighter. And so it was funny because I actually did not have my whelping boxes in this puppy nursery at our house. I had them up at the kennel. And so I told Josh, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need you to go get a whelping box for me. And so he goes to get the first whelping box, brings it down, and I'm like, Lindy and Daisy, they do have the same due dates. It did snow, the barometric pressure, it can totally put the females into labor. And then I feel like there's this like unknown science, or maybe it is a known science between two. If one goes into labor, it could totally set the other one into labor. So I'm like, man, we have like everything working here to put both females into labor. So I said, I think maybe just in case you should go and get that other whelping box. And sure enough, Josh literally leaves the room, goes up to the kennel to get the other whelping box, and all of a sudden Lindy's water breaks and she starts contracting. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, I've never had this happen before. And I was always like, how is this all going to go down? Like, I have two females. Josh is somewhat of a help.
Somewhat of a help.
But, I run this show when it comes to whelping. And so I'm just like, all right, you know what? I can do this. They are both first-time mamas. And so I'm like, we're just going to roll with the punches here. Like, this is great. And let's see what happens. And Daisy delivered her first puppy literally at midnight. Lindy did not deliver her first puppy until like 1:30 a.m. So it was really nice because I got to have Daisy's first puppy. I think she actually ended up having 3 puppies on the ground before Lindy delivered her first puppy. So by the time that third puppy rolls around, like, Daisy's in mother mode now. Like, she kind of understands what's going on. She was an amazing first-time mom, took right to her puppies. And so it was a great night, super long, but all is well. Mm-hmm. Couldn't ask for anything else.
So let me kind of paint the picture of the other side of what was going on here yesterday. So we normally start our days early on, early in the mornings, because Whitney has puppy chores. Mm-hmm. I have big dog chores. Then we have to get the kids up and going. We got to get the kids to school. Normal family stuff, and that's often the stuff we don't talk about, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of keep our private life private, but it really came into play here yesterday because the kids the day before had gotten sent home from school sick. I don't know how sick they really were because they didn't act very sick. But it's just kind of interesting, ever since COVID, mm-hmm. one of the kids gets sent home. The policy is all the kids from the family have to get sent home. And then they have to be home. It's like 48 hours or until they're not showing symptoms, right? So on top of all of this, so we've started our day early. We now have had the kids home, so we really haven't gotten a whole lot of work done, at least not what we were planning on. Now we're up literally all night whelping these litters of puppies, mm-hmm. and then
roll right into the next day
because now the kids are up and they're raring to go. And now the nice thing is I did get some sleep. Whitney didn't get any sleep.
I'm like, someone has to be able to function the next day.
Yeah. So the idea was, okay, I will be able to get up, get mm-hmm. the kids going.
And Josh was able to do puppy chores for me.
Puppy chores.
Which was great.
Yeah, puppy chores, kid chores, big dog chores. And quite frankly, this is why it is so important that we have the team that we have at the kennel. Mm-hmm. Because without that, I've got dogs up there that need to be trained. And so fortunately enough, we have Dave that is able to step in, take the load from the kennel standpoint. And then we have Cassie and we have the rest of the team up there that all do a great job stepping in with their role. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I always kind of appreciate is there's always going to be a level of chaoticness when this stuff happens, right? Because you can plan for it. Yeah, and I'm a very structured person. I like to know I have meetings today at 9, 11, 1, how long those are going to be, what my expectations are, because then I can plan the rest of the day. This never happens that way. But throwing the kid aspect into it,
Oh my gosh.
that was a whole nother level because we had, and I shouldn't say I don't know how sick they were. They were because they were up quite frequently over the night. So not only do we have puppies that were coming, we were on sleep deprivation, I'm going to say, or at least the verge of it. But then, we're running up, taking care of the kids who aren't feeling good, getting them, back to sleep and back going. The hardest part for me, I think, was the following day because, I was extremely tired. You were absolutely, or I'm sure today, good grief, like all these days run together, that you're exhausted because you literally haven't slept. But then you hit a point, because it's not just the whelping, right? So I want to say the last litter got done right about noon today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're doing this during nap time, by the way, because there's no other way that this could happen. So in case the kids wake up and in case you hear yelling or in case one of us has to jump off, this is another thing we're trying to juggle in there. And so it's interesting, kind of the whole grand scheme. And you've decided that you are not going to go to sleep until
tonight.
Until you absolutely crash.
I just have so much stuff to do, and I'm really fortunate at the fact that I can run on very little fumes.
And I can't.
But if I were to sit down, not I'm still engaged, right? Like my mind is still engaged, so I'm not getting tired. But if I were to sit down for 5 minutes, I would be so exhausted. But if I keep going, then I'm good.
I'm not. I need some sleep. I need some sleep really badly. Okay, so that was part of the whelping. I want to kind of dig a layer into this. Before I do that, thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your hunting and training needs as you go into train season. My advice: shop at Gun Dog Supply early, because if this year was like last year, supplies are going to be in high demand. It's going to be hard to get. Just stock up early. www.gundogsupply.com. Also, thank you to Sitka Gear. I'm going to be on a turkey hunt here in a few weeks out in Wyoming, which I am absolutely stoked for. But I'll be living in my Sitka gear, and I could not be more comfortable. It allows me to do more with less on. Go check them out, www.sitkagear.com. Also, thank you to Retriever Roadmap. If you have not checked out Retriever Roadmap, you need to do that because it has been a tremendous success as far as people just raving about how it's helping them with their training and their dogs at home, how it's allowing them to see where they're going, how they're going to get there, find the best route for them. You need to go check that out, www.retrieverroadmap.com. All right, so let's talk about these pairs because this is obviously a big piece of this is the pairings that these dogs are. So we have Daisy and Brock, and that was our litter of 6.
Yes.
And then we have Lindy and Bud, which was our litter of 10.
11.
Of 11. That's what I meant. So, Daisy, Brock, Lindy, Bud. Yeah. So let's talk about those dogs. Let's talk about why we paired them. And let's talk a little bit about the clients that we kind of have earmarked for each one of these litters. I mean, naturally, you kind of have traits. And, for us, again, we're trying to fit the puppy with the owner. It's not just, hey, when it's your turn on the list, this, whatever litter happens to be, there's a litter that you get. This is why it's so important for us to take our time, get to know the owner, get to know the people and what they're looking for. How do you hunt? How many days do you hunt? Are you going to test? Are you going to trial? We just talked to a client of ours yesterday that is going to be field trialing with his puppy that he gets. There's so many things, and for us, matching the right puppy with the right owner, I think, is incredibly important. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we'll talk about our little Daisy girl. So Daisy is from our Faith and Patty litter, and she went through a lot of training with Josh, and I just remember him being so excited about all of her training because she actually lives in Texas, And so when she comes up for training, she stays for a long time to just get through as much as she possibly can in the spring, summer, and fall with Josh. And so Miss Daisy has some fire under her. She is just a little spitfire. And so we bred her with Brock. And so we kind of mixed a little fire and fire in there, which was fun. I think this litter is definitely going to be a high drive litter, obviously. Very much potential for the field trials, hunt tests, and just someone that loves to overall work with their dog, their puppy, someone that's going to be very active, you know, very hunt focused. Obviously, they all have their off switch inside the home, but they're going to have a very big on switch in that field.
Yeah, this litter is one that I particularly, I've been very excited about this one because, like you said, I really, really enjoyed my time training Daisy. Why did I enjoy that time? So she is a smaller statured female. She has a big, big motor. She has a very high ceiling. I believe her ceiling is even higher than what we got her to, mainly because the reason I say that is that she lives in Texas, and so it was just limited time due to logistics that I was able to get her and take her through the training. And she got a very long way in a relatively short period of time. But she was just that dog that every day she wanted to work. I think more than anything else, she wanted to go work. You have dogs that they love the playtime. They look forward to eating, more than anything else, quite a few of them. This was a dog that just oozed work. I mean, when she was working, you could tell she was happy. You could truly tell that. Not only that, but she picked up on things so quickly. She was a very fast learner. Her retention was incredible. It was like once she had it down, she had it down. And I mean, something as much as I won't dig too much into it because I go down a rabbit hole, but she just had an incredibly high potential level. And then Brock, if anyone's followed along with this, knows the caliber of dog that Brock is. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this. I think I've talked about this, but if I haven't, or if this is your first time listening, let me talk about this a little bit. So Brock is an incredibly accomplished dog. He has what I call the X factor. He just has something that you can't quite put your finger on, but there's something special about him. He's done things that are incredibly remarkable. It was hilarious. One of my good friends named Nick, who is one of our farmers down in Arkansas, great guy. We've built a great relationship, great friendship. He has a little black female himself. And he sent me a Snapchat the other day of him taking snow geese on his four-wheeler, him sitting his dog down on one on the field, and driving the snow goose out to extend retrieves out 400, 500, 600 yards. And when he's driving the four-wheeler, he's talking to me on the video, and he goes, you just made my training so much harder because you've spoiled me with hunting around Brock and all these great dogs, and now I need to make her go do these big, long retrieves. And this is the only way I can figure out how to do this. Brock had a retrieve with Nick on a speckle belly last year that was, I think it was like 7 yards short of a half mile, or it was something like that. Just absolutely incredible. It was 23 yards short of a half mile. Incredible. Those are the things and that's why Brock tends to stick out because of all these incredible, memorable things that he does. Here's been my bugaboo with the Brock puppies. Brock puppies are all-stars. They turn out to be incredible. They turn out to have high ceilings. They turn out to be, everyone talks about dog of a lifetime. The problem I have with them is that they're a hair slower developing. And I would actually say the same about Brock. Brock was the same way. And so what I mean by that is for the Clyde puppy counterpart, what a Clyde puppy is doing at a year old, like a Brock puppy might be 14 months old before they're really kind of popping through things. it's not a problem. The problem comes from if it's with an owner that has this unrealistic expectation that, hey, my Brock puppy better be Brock and he better be Brock right now. That's where I have the problem, because, and we've run into that a couple times with people panicking because, this puppy, is supposed to be elite and this puppy is supposed to be great. And I don't understand why this isn't happening. Okay, well, how is the puppy again? Well, he's 5 months old already. Well, 5 months, let him grow up. So I think sometimes, and I would say this across the board, when you have a dog like this that is incredibly talented and incredibly accomplished, I think there's an unrealistic and an unfair expectation that is put on those puppies. And so that's kind of my only bugaboo with the Brock puppies. And so I've actually been way more in depth with talking with people about, hey, you want a Brock puppy? Great. Let's make sure the Brock puppy is the right fit for you. Because be honest with yourself, if you're not going to have the patience, get a Clyde puppy, that tend to develop a little faster. Some people just, quite frankly, like I know I've talked a lot on this podcast about sitting your puppy out that first season. A lot of people have really kicked back like, I can't do that. I couldn't do that. There's no way I could do it. Well, Brock puppy might not be the best fit for you, especially depending on the time of year that you were to get this puppy. So, but going back to this breeding, this Daisy Brock breeding, I just think if these puppies end up in the right people's hands, that are going to be developmental with them, that are going to have the patience, and are going to work and hunt them. Let's not forget the hunting side of it. I mean, if you're looking for a hunting dog, you can train all year long, but if you only hunt 3 times a year, that dog is never going to be the epitome of what you're hoping that dog is. It's like, you can have a quarterback that throws passes into a tire, swinging on a branch all day, every day. But if he never doesn't get reps in the game, he's never going to be as elite as he probably should be. Same thing here. You need to put the dog in the game. So if they're with the right owner, these puppies could be incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing where these puppies end up.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so that's Daisy Brock. Let's talk Lindy Bud.
So we have Lindy and Bud. This one totally makes me smile because that is totally what I'm expecting from these little puppies, is that I think they're going to be so playful, amazing, like family members, like people with younger kids. And even if their kids want to get into hunting, or if they're kind of like the weekend warrior hunters. But, let's not forget, these puppies totally have the potential to be rock stars in the field. Of course, it's just that it's a different personality. These guys are going to be more laid back, more playful, more family oriented, I would say, a little bit. Lindy is from our Addie and Bracken litter, and Bracken he's so playful, and then you mix Bud in there, and then you add an extreme amount of playful. But Lindy also went through training with us. She did not go through as much training as Daisy did. We just didn't have the same amount of time with her, but she also was phenomenal through her training. She caught on really quick. She does a lot of upland hunting with her owners, but she's just an overall such a happy dog. And so we wanted to breed her with Bud just because we thought it would be great, like I said, for those family-oriented people that want to be outdoors a lot. They want to go hiking, canoeing, camping. Like, this is a phenomenal litter for that type of a family.
Yeah, I totally agree. And sometimes I feel like we kind of discredit Bud a little bit. And I don't mean that intentionally, because we both love that dog to death. But sometimes I feel like when we talk about Bud, we're like, hey, this would be a great all-around dog. This would be someone that wants a great family member, wants a great companion, wants a great hunting dog, which is all true. But let's not forget that Bud was, I'm going to say, one of, if not the fastest dog to go through and get and achieve his hunting retriever champion title. Let's not forget that his puppies have consistently gone through and gotten their hunting retriever champion titles very quickly and easily. And we have owners that have literally never run a hunt test before in their life, and these puppies walk through the levels. They have these ribbons. And it's funny because the owners come back and they're like, I don't know how much I helped this thing, you know, like I tried, you know. And what's funny about that is because bud puppies have been incredibly forgiving. They've been very natural. They've been very forgiving, but they also have that more of a playful off switch where, let's go back to Brock. You know, Brock, I look at Brock as more of a workhorse. Like, he wants to go work. That's where he wants to be. Not that he doesn't come in the house, and not that he doesn't hang out with us, not that he isn't great at that, but you know that he is in his element working. Where Bud is, but Bud is just as much of at his element, or in his element rather, when he's in the house, or when he's on the pontoon, or when he's like that dog just wants to be anywhere with you. And you can tell he's just as comfortable no matter where he is. And so it's really interesting, you know, the differences. And we split hairs because I'm just incredibly picky when it comes to, you know, the dogs that are part of a breeding program, that they don't get to be a part of it unless they're special, right? Yeah. And I have a black dog named Solo that's literally laying at my feet right now that I really like. I am so close to just confirming here that he is that special, you know, caliber, because he has an X factor too. Like, there's just something when I work with this dog that's like, my gosh, like something stands out. But he has a couple more things to prove, so I can't get ahead of myself there. He is going to absolutely devastate me if he doesn't, you know, kind of hit that last notch that I need him to hit. But when we split hairs like that, that's why I say sometimes I feel like we discredit Bud, because his puppies have been just so, like, I think they're probably the best puppies that we can put in people's hands. Oh my gosh, yeah. Consistently over and over and over and over and over again. And be successful no matter what.
Yeah. And he's had the most, like, well-rounded puppies, meaning, like, okay, we've had them go be therapy dogs. They have been search and rescue dogs. They have went through hunt test training. Like, I don't know if we have another sire at all that has been able to produce puppies consistently that have been able to excel with anything the owner puts in front of them.
And our client that is that runs trials, like, he has set that his next one is a bud puppy. Yeah. You know, so, you know, now we're gonna have, you know, bud puppies. The only reason I say now is because I can't think of any bud puppies that are currently running trials right now. I'm not going to waste too much time on thinking about, but I don't think we have any that are running right now. But I mean, it's just another check mark, right? When you kind of go across the board, it's amazing, you know, how versatile his dogs, you know, or his puppies tend to be. For sure. So it's really neat. But Lindy, I made the comment earlier when I'm kind of like watching her, you know, first hours of being a mom, right? She just looks happy. I mean, like, genuinely unfiltered, pure happiness. It's hard to explain, but you can see it in her face. You can see it in just the way that she's kind of holding herself, even though she's laying there letting all these, you know, new little babies nurse. Yeah. She just looks incredibly happy. Yeah. And I think that's one of the neat things, that Bracken is very much that way. That dog is just a happy dog. Totally. You know, he's just happy, happy, happy. So it'll be really interesting. It'll be really interesting watching, you know, these puppies develop, watching these puppies mature, and then watching what these puppies really end up being. Yeah. I mean, both these litters are really, really neat.
For sure. Well, and like you said, I think it's really important for people to understand that when you breed females and you're doing it the right way and you're doing the right pairings, you're making sure everything is lining up. You know, a lot of people say, well, what changes in the female after they have litters? And honestly, like, nothing changes in these females. And, you know, we talked about Daisy being this little workhorse, and then we talk about Lindy being just this playful, happy dog. And that totally showed through when Josh walked into the puppy nursery. Daisy, like, literally got up and was like, oh my gosh, Josh is here. I think we're going to go out and train. And then Lindy's, like, literally laying there just like smiling through her eyes, you know, and you can see their personalities are still so true to what they were before they even had these puppies.
Yeah, Daisy literally got up and left her puppies and sat there and looked at me like, hey, let's go do something. Yeah, it really is. It's so interesting. And I do think that a big part of this is the care that you put into them. And you have a very regimented schedule of, you know, here's when we're going to wean the mamas off so that we're not overdoing it with them. The puppies are getting what they need, but then, we're not, making it to where, there's a negative effect on the mom from being with them too long. Right. I think there's, as we progress on through this, next couple months, there's a lot I think to be said about that too. So, all right. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here, because one of the things that I mentioned, I was talking on the phone with one of our clients that runs trials. He runs a lot of derbies, and it's always fun when I talk with him, because he has definite energy about him with it. It's a passion of his. He enjoys doing it, and I love talking high level because of my competitive side and my background. One of the things that he talked about, which I thought was so interesting, was how he gets so frustrated with social media because everything is sunshine and roses. Everything is, look how awesome all of my dogs are, right? Look how perfect all of our stuff is. We actually really laughed because, there are times that he can see it and I can see it because we do this every day, but there are times that people will set up and be like, all right, so here's a dog that's going to go run this, 300-yard blind. And they turn to the dog. The dog already knows where it is. Like, this is not a blind. This dog has either run this multiple times today or literally just watched you put something out. Like, this is not blind, but the dog goes and does it and looks impressive and people go ooh and ah over it. And it's like, he made the comment that I wish more people would talk about the negative things that come up, because that's real. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a negative that happened last night. And this is not a fun thing to talk about, but this is the reality of when you're dealing with bringing life into this world, that not everything is sunshine and roses. So tell us a little bit about the negative from last night.
Okay, so the negative. So Daisy had her first puppy, and her first puppy comes out, and you can physically just see that something is wrong with this puppy. They're just not like physically developed the way that I would expect a puppy to be. And so, honestly, I thought the puppy was stillborn. I was just like, oh my gosh, and I'm trying to think of like, okay, now this is Daisy's first puppy she's ever had. I can tell something is wrong. How is she going to react? How am I going to make sure that she's comforted and I'm not like over here, kind of scrambling to figure out what's going on. But the puppy's laying there in the sack, and I actually see the heartbeat, and it was crazy because I was like, how in the world?
You can literally see the heart beating.
I could see the heart beating, which if you've whelped out puppies before, that's not a normal thing to see. I have a stethoscope with me to see if I can hear heartbeats in stillborn puppies. And so for me to be able to see this heart beating, I mean, it didn't look all the way developed. And I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of going to see what Daisy does here, because I still want those motherly instincts, those natural instincts to come out. But I break open the sack, and the puppy takes this big gasp of air, and I am still in shock that this puppy is even alive, just because it did not look all the way developed. And so I'm looking at it, and it's, and I'm letting Daisy kind of just clean it off, let those instincts come in, because the last thing I want to do is to tell her no. Like, I want her to still know that this is okay to do.
Because again, first time mom.
And you want those instincts to come out. She still has all these other puppies to deliver, and I want her to still have those instincts for every other puppy. So first thing that I do is check inside the mouth. And the reason being is because a lot of times when puppies are born and they're not all the way developed, they have a cleft palate. And what that is it's an opening in the roof that connects to the nasal passage. And so a lot of times, more times than not, when a puppy has a cleft palate, they have some other type of neurological issue, physical issue, something, and they just don't make it. And so it's so heartbreaking to like see this first puppy your heart just breaks for Daisy and for this puppy. And it's just like, it's such a sad situation, and it just breaks my heart. And it, you have a total high going into these whelpings, and it crushes you when something like this happens. And, and then I start to think, I'm like, okay, well, this is her first litter, and what's every other puppy going to be like now? And so you just kind of take it as it goes. Unfortunately, the puppy didn't make it. I was just surprised and heartbroken, and surprised that it was alive, heartbroken that it didn't make it. But at the end of the day, you just say a little prayer for the puppy, and, that's what it is.
Yeah, and this is why I say that this is so hard, because here you have a new little ball of what you're hoping is joy, and no control of yours, right? No control of yours. This puppy isn't fully developed, and there's no way this puppy is ever going to live, and so you just, that, and it's quick and it's painless, and and we move on. But it's part of this job too. It's the part of the job that I don't think anyone likes to talk about. We don't like talking about it, right?
Oh, my heart's like pounding right now.
I know. I can tell in your face that you don't like talking about it, and I'm sorry to talk about it, but it is one of those things that I think it gives you a sneak peek into this, because Whitney and I kind of have to smile and nod, and Dave and everybody at the kennel for that matter has to, because we hear the jokes on a weekly basis of, oh, you have the best job ever, you get to sit and play with dogs all day, and we're like, yeah, it's like we're going on, you're probably 42 hours now, no sleep, juggling life on top of the business, and then these are the things you have to deal with on top of everything else, right? Because you're still communicating with owners, you're still having it's a lot. And so for this to happen, we don't necessarily look at, like, I don't look at this as a business thing, because it's like, you'd love to have one more puppy from a business standpoint, because then that's one more customer you make happy. That's obviously income, for us. But the bigger picture is, like, when you're in that moment, like you said, your heart just breaks, because you want this
it's
puppy.
A life.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to really articulate, because unless you're in that situation, you don't see it. And for me too, it's Daisy. Like, she doesn't understand what's going on here. She doesn't understand. And she's trying to learn what being a mom is. And something that I did not think about at that time, but something that you brought up, which I thought was a little nerve-wracking after the fact that I didn't think about it, was, okay, so what about all the other puppies? Like, are we gonna have issues here? Like, is this again, you've done everything right. You've literally done every health test you can possibly do with both the mom and the dad to ensure that the puppies are going to be as healthy and happy as possible, that you can control. Stuff like this can still happen.
And we did a puppy count x-ray. You don't see these things on a puppy count x-ray because they're so jumbled, they're small, and it is what it is. And we've talked about it in other podcasts. The gestation is only 58 to 63 days. And that is such a short amount of time for an entire litter to be, just develop and have everything healthy. And it's so, so rare that we ever have any health issues with puppies like this. But then when you do, it just crushes me, and it crushes you, and it's hard. It's really hard to get over.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know. I for some reason, after the conversation that I had yesterday, I was like, let's just bring this up. It's not a fun thing to talk about. If you saw Whitney's face right now, you'd know that she probably isn't happy with me about bringing this up. Not because we want to hide it, but because it is difficult to talk about. It's difficult to go through. It's difficult not to just, you want to just let it go and move on, right? But I do think it's interesting to talk about that this, it's not sunshine and roses all the time. That there is the ebbs and flows. But all right, so let's move on to a little happier sense here. So let's get back to Daisy. and Lindy. So what's kind of your assessment so far? First time moms, what are you seeing?
First time moms. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So Daisy has her litter of 6. She has 6 puppies. Lindy has her litter of 11. And just from them needing me, you know, it's been interesting because Daisy, although she's an amazing mom, she would go out and retrieve a tennis ball any second that I would let her. But she is a great mom. She's been nursing her puppies. Her milk came in. I mean, flawless, right? It's great. Lindy has 11 puppies, so she definitely needs my attention more. First time mom, she's on great Eukanuba food, but when you have 11 puppies, like that is a lot of puppies to keep up with. And so I weigh the puppies morning and night just to make sure that she's able to produce enough milk for all these puppies. And the first couple days, they have just the colostrum. And so I've decided that I am going to do a little supplementing with them. And I think I'll do a little Instagram thing on how I supplement puppies because there's 2 different ways to do it. And I have my reasons on why I like to do it the way I do it. And then also, thanks to Daisy, Daisy is going to be nursing some of Lindy's puppies as well. And it's amazing because now, no matter who these puppies are with, Lindy or Daisy, they're getting the colostrum still that they need at this young age to build up their immune system. Daisy takes on these puppies like they're her own. She absolutely loves them. And
so you've started them already on this?
I've started them already on this just because it's like these puppies are so little, they're so young, they're so fresh that you cannot risk them getting dehydrated or them losing too much weight. And so why not be ahead of the game and just start it out, you know, the way that I know I'm protecting all these puppies by making sure they're gaining weight. So
yeah, and you know, from my standpoint, I look at 11 puppies and go, how do you not lay on one? Like, how do you not crush one?
100%. Lindy is amazing. She is so in tune with where every single one of these puppies is that she keeps them all in front of her. I honestly don't know how she does it. She is amazing with making sure her puppies are in front of her.
And not every mom is. Like, right. We have had females that we need to be on top of almost 24/7. I'm going to say that in a different way. We need to be monitoring and we need to be very focused on 24/7 because what happens is that, especially for a first-time mom, it's easy for them to, you know, lose her one is, lay on one, right? And then they crush or suffocate, and now we have another heartbreak issue, right?
Yeah.
When is the point, like, is there an age that you feel like you're not in the clear, but you're like kind of over the, you know, she's gonna lay on one and maybe, you know, crush or suffocate one? Like, is there a point of that you're like, hey, I feel better about this now?
Honestly, like when they're 1 week, I monitor them like crazy for up to 1 week. I mean, I still do after, but I'm like it's interesting. So day 3 of these puppies, they start to feel like what I say is sturdy. You know, they don't feel like these little flimsy cartilage newborns anymore. They have a little bit of weight to them. Then once you hit that 1 week, you're like, okay, everyone's doing great. No one is having these highs and lows of weight gain and weight loss. Everyone's stable. Mama's milk production has been in for a couple days. She's producing enough milk. And that's when I start to place the puppies. I don't even send out puppy offers until they're at least 1 week old, because that 1 week is like, oh, everyone can take a breath. Mom knows what she's doing and everything is good. We're smooth sailing.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that, you know, personally, I get a little nervous about when we, I used to get more nervous about it because I was, you know, there was a point that I was nervous about, you know, what's everyone going to think when they see this on social media? And now I'm just like, this is what it is, you know, like we're just, you know, who cares what people think? But I think there's something to be said about, like, when you show that there's 10 puppies that are born, and if that were to happen, now we've been really lucky, knock on wood, we've been really lucky. But I think that's because, like, when Whitney says that she's crazy about monitoring them, like, she is crazy. She has cameras that link to her phone that she is, if she is not in that room, which she is most of the day, she is watching those cameras. Like I cannot have a conversation. Like I think Whitney's checked her phone probably 90 times since we've started this recording, but it's one of those things that's like she's always monitoring them and she's always watching just in case. And then that's why we have these puppies in our whelping room is in our house because she can be down there in seconds if she needs to be. And so it's really it's an interesting it's kind of an interesting first week, right? Because there's a lot of you're learning, both Daisy and Lindy, or obviously other girls if they're here. You're learning them. You're seeing how they're taking care of their puppies. You're seeing what your concerns are. Is there anything that you need to worry about? Right? There's a lot going on. So it's you
have to be mentally engaged literally for a week. I mean, like you do not stop. Like when we sleep at night, the camera is on and the sound is on. Yeah. Josh is like
literally
serious.
All night. Literally all night.
But I need to know they're my babies, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just want the best for my 4-legged and 2-legged babies.
Yeah. And it is something I do appreciate. I like to kind of joke around because it's not convenient. It does keep me up, but I do really appreciate the time and commitment that and the care that Whitney puts into this thing, because that's the reason that she's the best at what she does. So one of the many reasons. So So
I want to take a second and talk about something.
Okay.
I would love to just talk about Retriever Roadmap for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because it's been so fun. So I think what I like the most about it is something completely different than what you like about it. But I think it's been so cool to start to almost reconnect a little bit with our past clients through this. And you and I love connection with our clients. We love to keep in touch with them. But like, let's be honest, like it's hard. But what's been so cool is to have people reaching back out, or we reach out to them and be like, hey, how's Retriever Roadmap going? Or they're giving us this feedback. And it's almost like this whole reconnection with people that's been so amazing and so fun to catch up on, just that we really wouldn't have before this.
Yeah. So in case you're unaware, Retriever Roadmap is a online training program that I've taken years and years and years to develop and get the video library that I have and put it out there for anyone to do. And it is the program that I use at the kennel. There are a few exceptions just because of certain tools or certain terrain or certain things that are like super unique. But I've catered this entire program to be where you can do this at home. You can take your dog from puppy to completely finished, everything in between, no matter where your goal is. I use dogs that are not fully trained. They are going through these processes at the time. So to be honest, that was probably the biggest challenge is how do I train and talk to the camera? And then for my camera guy, so Brett did, especially at the back half of this. I wish I would have had Brett doing this years ago because he was way more in tune than previous people I had do this because he understood the dog side of it. But how Brett, like, you don't get another shot at this. Like, you have to capture this the first time. And so it's very difficult. It was really difficult, but I'm super proud of it. And so you can walk through step by step, follow videos, find whatever route is best for you. There's certain tools, there's certain techniques, there's certain applications that, you may want to use or you may not want to use. And that's why, it took so long developing this is that, like, do you want to use an e-collar? Great. Here's the route. Do you not want to use an e-collar? Great. Here's the route, and from that, you just keep branching route and route. The idea behind a Retriever Roadmap is that we're all trying to get from point A to point B, but there's a lot of routes to get there, right? So like if we started in New York and we were going to go to Los Angeles, we'd all probably take different routes. Some of us would take the interstate, some of us would take, dirt roads, some of us would take, everything in between, a combination of the two. What route is best for you? What route is best for your dog? And when we developed this, it was really about how do we give people access at home, specifically our clients. So like you're talking about, the hard part about keeping the relationships with our puppy clients are, okay, you get a puppy from us. If you're on the list, you hear from us regularly. when you're getting a puppy, so let's just say this, Daisy Brock litter. For the people that are like, we give the puppy offer, they accept the puppy offer, they're getting a puppy from this litter, they're going to have a great relationship with us for the next couple weeks, or a couple months, I should say. Then naturally we hear a lot from them for probably the first, 6 months to a year, right? As the puppy's developing, everybody loves to keep us up to date and posted. But naturally, because of life, there's a natural drift there. And if you don't get another dog until that dog passes, we may not hear from you again for 12, 13, 14, 15 years. And so part of this was, how do we keep engaged with our clients, but then how do we give them the tools to go home and be as successful as possible with our puppies? Well, at a certain point, it went to, well, why does it just have to be for our clients? Why couldn't this be for everyone, right? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that it's not the training that bothers them. It's not putting the time. It's just not having the right guidance or not understanding how to do it. And so, this was a little bit, for me, like I had to kind of check my ego and give away some drills that I don't, like giving away, because I've taken a lot of time developing these and, tweaking and tuning. And, but there's a lot of great info in there. It's about a month old, and I'm overwhelmed with the feedback that we've gotten back. I mean, just, the comments of how it's changed them and their dog's relationship. It is literally, there's one person that said, this changed my life. Like I've literally struggled. I've banged my head against the wall with this dog for the first year of their life. And this has changed my approach. It changed the way that I worked with them, and it has changed our relationship. Really powerful stuff. And so there's a lot coming. So if you are a Retriever Roadmap member, stay tuned, because there's a lot of things continuing to build and grow for that community, and a lot of really neat things. If you're not, go check it out, because it's I think very, very affordable. I think it's actually cheap, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of cool things that come from it, a lot of community aspects between, especially for those Plus members. The amount of discounts you get from the industry partners is huge. We're going to be doing, some seminar weekends that the Plus members get to attend for no cost. There's a lot of cool things that are coming up. And so I hope that if you are a member, that you're having the same experiences. And if you're not, go check it out, because even if your dog is being trained by a trainer, or even if you're doing, the train yourself, find a different program, something like that, more information is always better. Like, just, you may not use everything, but understanding the why behind things is important. And you may be getting hung up and find that, looking at a different route or a different, philosophy or a different approach, that's what helps you get over that hump. There is no cookie cutter formula to this. And that's the whole reason I want to do an online platform, is I'm going to continue to grow this. If I get crazy stubborn dogs in, we're going to document it. If we get crazy soft dogs in, we're going to document it. If we get, mental issues, like there's a lot of things that we're probably going to, document as we go through this thing, and it's going to continue to grow. So it's a great community to be a part of, and I'm just really proud of it.
Me too. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Yes, it has been. So, thank you guys so much for another week, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk with you next week. Whitney, go get some sleep.
I think I'm going to.
All right, you guys have a great week.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, and a special thank you to Eukanuba, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.